That's why we're happy to be joined tonight by Batya Undar-Sargon. She's the deputy opinion editor at Newsweek. She's single-handedly responsible for making that magazine worth reading once in a while, and so we're happy to have her. Batya, thanks for joining us tonight. No, it's true. I never thought I'd be reading a Newsweek piece until you took over, so thank you for that. So clearly they've decided, you know, the hive has turned on the Queen. How does this play out, do you think?
You know, Tucker, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and a big mazel tov, congratulations to you for being the #1 most watched show among Democrats. You know, it's such a privilege to be here with you. We get to talk to both Republicans and Democrats, and that's very related to what we're discussing here. You know, my view is that the reason that the liberal media is turning on President Biden is because he failed at the one thing they really needed him to do, which was to sustain the fiction that the big divide in America is political, when, as what you know, because you cover this every night on your show, the real divide is about class and on a host of issues, from COVID to crime to inflation to the role the U.S. should be playing in the war in Ukraine. You know, working class and middle class Americans who are Republicans and Democrats, they just are not divided on these issues. They are divided from the elites who claim to represent them, but there's that yawning gulf between the liberal media, the elites, the Democratic Party, and where average Americans of both parties are at. And I think they thought President Biden would help them paper over that gap, when what's happened is he's come to embody it. And so they're distancing themselves from him to sort of hide from their own failures, Tucker.
I mean, it's so simple. The formula that you just suggested is so obvious. If you had a president who was truly moderate, truly interested in the lives of the people he represented, who cared about people making 70 grand and not just people who run Amazon, like you could win every election and rule forever. Why don't they do that?
I mean, it's such a great question. I think, you know, last night you talked about monopolies and how, you know, anybody who resists sort of threatens the monopoly and threatens the power. And I think that the Democrats and the liberal elites in the media have gotten a lot of power from consolidating around, you know, the class that they share. And you see it even, I think, Tucker, on one area where the president actually is sort of representing where Americans are at, which is on Ukraine. He's really walked a fine line, I think, towards supporting the Ukrainians the way Americans want him to, but not escalating in the way that Americans really don't want him to. And on that, you know, the media beats him up the worst, right? Because he's threatening that elite point of view.
That is so true. And I think, I mean, what do I know? I'm not in touch with Biden every day, but just watching him on TV, his first instinct was not to escalate. I don't think he wanted a war with Russia. And it really felt like he was suborned by the people around him to escalate beyond what most Americans want. They want to support Ukraine. They don't want a hot war with Russia. Fair?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and I think that, you know, he is trying his best to resist pressure from both parties, by the way, from the elites in both parties, although, of course, not from this show, because you tell it like it is, Tucker.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's certainly the Republican Party pushing its total criticism. But, Batya, thanks so much for coming on and for what you're doing this week. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. I'm Tucker Carlson tonight.